Good. Thanks so much for agreeing to join me on these Therapy Thursdays. I think it's important to have um, someone with your expertise and insight to kind of add to the conversation, especially the topics that we're going to be covering. And then, of course, tonight we are going to be covering emotional suppression and generational silence and how that affects Black families overall. So, gonna wait maybe just 2 more minutes to see if anyone else joins in, and then we're just gonna get started because I know you're a geriatric and you got a bedtime that you need to adhere to.
And you know what I'm saying? It's time for me to start popping my melatonin pills about right now to get that good.
All right. Welcome. Hi, Jesse. Thanks for joining. Can you hear music in my background?
In and out.
Okay. Because I curated a playlist on YouTube. You guys can go to my bio and click my link tree, and it'll say Therapy Thursday music list. Each week, I will be posting a curated music list dealing with the Therapy Thursdays topic that we're going to discover. That way, as you use the journal prompts that I post on Write It Out Wednesday, you can kind of go through the playlist, listen, and sit with those journal questions as you write out your thoughts, your feelings, so you can have your own epiphanies and promote your own healing. Okay. So let me turn this down just a tad. Okay. Vocals. All right. So let's jump in. Hi, everyone that has joined so far. We are going to get started. I am Kalina Black. I am an SEL emotional coach, and my job is to help others achieve the goal of breaking negative generational cycles. With me tonight, I have a very trusted friend and colleague of mine, Mr. Jake Streeter, licensed therapist with My Life Now. He's going to be adding to the conversation, giving some insight from the mental health perspective on just how these things can affect us, not only as individuals, but in the Black family as a whole. Now, if you aren't a Black or Brown person joining in on this live, that's fine. Any information and what you hear tonight could be beneficial for you as well. So, to jump off, we both have worked in the school system, and we've encountered children that have to take on a parental type of role, where whether it's they're taking care of younger siblings, or unfortunately they're having to parent their parents because their parents haven't went through whatever mental health avenues to give them, to make them more emotionally, spiritually, and what's the word I'm looking for, mentally balanced. If I didn't say that, sorry. So first question I have is, when someone grows up having to be the mature one and having to hold it all together, what does that actually do to their emotional state as they grow?
So I love questions like this because there isn't a set answer. It's that
Okay.
whole if you throw a potato and you throw an egg both into a pot of hot water, you get two very different results. The potato becomes soft, but the egg becomes hard. And when it comes to people, you can put two people in the exact same or very similar scenarios and get two very different outcomes. There are so many different factors that go into it. But generally speaking, sometimes when a child is required to be in what we might refer to as an adult type role
Mm,
too early, it could stifle their development a bit because there's stages that we each go through. And sometimes we don't have enough time to sit in each of those stages because let's just say life needs us to grow up.
Hmm.
Life needs us to grow up. And we might not necessarily be ready to grow up. That inner child whose voice is sometimes stifled, if you will, comes back out later usually and says, "Hey, all right, now that things are cool, come see about me." On the flip side of that, some of us who had to grow up early develop skills that other individuals might not develop because they didn't necessarily need to. I don't necessarily want to say it's a good thing or a bad thing. It could be suboptimal. It could be optimal. I think we'd have to have a bit more information about the conditions to have a better feel on how this might potentially turn out.
Okay. You mentioned they might come out either suboptimal or optimal. Can you just quickly break down what that means for anyone on the live that doesn't understand those terms?
Suboptimal is the simplest way of putting it is, does this work for me?
Okay.
If it's suboptimal, no, this doesn't work for me. If it's optimal, this is working for me. Case in point, one of the benefits I've had as being a leader is because I had to start being one at such a very early age. I was what you refer to as a latchkey kid.
Mm.
And I remember being responsible for not only my own siblings, but my neighbors' kids as early as 6. As
Mm.
early as 6. I remember walking home from school, excuse me, 7, not 6. I was 7, walking home from school and had to be responsible for my siblings until at times by myself, or my neighbors' kids would come over sometimes and they hang with me until their parents got home. So I remember being responsible. So when you ask me to be responsible, well, I'm born into it. There's certain things you don't have to tell me. I just know to do it because I'm used to being responsible. On the flip side, the downside of that is I've had to be responsible for other people so long that I don't remember a season when I only had to be responsible for me, in which case I find it difficult at times to even identify what my needs are because my first inclination is to make sure everybody else is good. And then a lot of times, once everybody else is good, you really don't have any time or energy left for yourself. So the optimal aspect of it would be it helped me to enhance leadership skills and become a stronger leader, more empathetic leader. On the suboptimal side would be the fact that I'm still at my age learning how to make sure that I have what I need.
Okay. And I can kind of relate to that only in a sense because I was a latchkey kid as well, but I didn't have to come home and take care of anyone else. My mother worked late, so I was 6 years old coming home by myself, but had to take care of myself. Now, in that aspect, depending on the case, would it have the same or similar outcome to those that may be more in tune with what you had to go through with coming home and parenting others, whether siblings or neighbors?
I think what that scenario provides for us are opportunities to be responsible. And responsibility looks different depending upon the person and situation, yet it is a skill nonetheless. I would say that it could be helpful to learn that skill of responsibility at an early age. I think we need to do a better job of allowing children to learn responsibility at earlier ages. I don't necessarily know if being at home at 6 years old to the late hours of the evening is the most ideal way of doing it. But there is something of value there because what I'm finding is more and more kids that I work with, you're finding high schoolers who don't know how to be responsible. I'm not even talking about responsible for others. I mean, they don't even know how to take care of themselves.
True.
And that's scary to be almost what we refer to as grown, and you don't even know how to take care of you. Why were you late to school today? Well, my mother didn't wake me up. You a junior.
Right. Yeah.
Your mother didn't wake you up. I had an alarm clock by 8 and got myself up. And so there's this independence that you develop in that particular scenario that outside of it, some students don't gain. I'll say some, I won't say all.
Okay. Nice. All the new people that have joined in, thank you for joining. If this is something that resonates with you or someone that you know could use this information, we're talking about emotional suppression and generational silence and how that affects Black individuals and Black families. Please share the live. Please tap the screen. It puts the live on the FYP so more of our community can get access to these kind of discussions that can ultimately lead to their aha moments, their breakthrough, and their healing. Okay. So thank you guys for joining. Let's see. A lot of people, let me see, how do I want to phrase this? With them having to enter into those responsible roles so early, how how can that show up in adulthood in ways that the regular normal individuals may not even be able to conceptualize or realize?
Oh, I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily want to use the word normal,
Oh,
but
well,
I do.
yeah, bad phrasing.
I do get it. How sometimes when you're not allowed to be a kid,
Hmm.
again, it might stifle development in ways that might be difficult to quantify. It might look like one thing for one person. I'll give you an example. I know of an individual who was in a similar situation to me, and they became very bitter. They became very bitter because they were like, listen, this isn't what I want right now. I just want to be a kid and be carefree like the other kids. And they had adult like responsibilities. And for them, it just made them really angry and bitter. For me, being the oldest kid, I just thought that was what you did. I literally just thought being the oldest kid, you were supposed to be responsible. You had to be accountable. You were responsible for what others did. I think my parents did a decent job, maybe not the best, but a pretty decent job of still allowing me opportunities to just be a kid. So there was a bit of a balance behind it. I think the difficulty happens when there's no balance, where you're asking me to be responsible, 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 and that's all you're asking me to be. You're not allowing me the time to be a kid. And then when I I finally accept the role of being more like an adult, and then you tell me, hey, stay in a child's place. I think when those scenarios kick in is when it gets really confusing. So, am I grown? Well, no, you're not grown, but stop being a child. Okay, so what's in between a grown and a child? I don't know, but you better be that. I think scenarios like that has been what I've experienced from many clients as being some of the stressful areas. They don't know what to do. When do I do which role? And I think some parents do a better job of that than others.
Okay. Now, in your expertise, have you seen how that has affected adults in maybe their adult relationships or even their work life? Like, what does that typically look like, or have you seen that look like?
In their work life, well, I'll talk about for adult life. I
Hmm.
think there's one area of life that is highly impacted by how we were raised,
Hmm.
and that area is in how we parent ourselves. Like when we become parents, what type of parent we become. Sometimes I've seen people try to overcompensate. Like my parents made me do everything, so I'm not gonna make my kid do anything. Like hold a sec, that's not a good idea. You're gonna definitely bite the bullet if you don't teach that child any type of responsibility. Now you got 20, 25, 30-year old children that aren't self-sustainable because they don't know how to go out and get it. And then on the flip side of that, sometimes I've seen people as adults, like because they had to take care of kids so much, they hate kids. Like my younger siblings, more my responsibility. Look, I don't want no kids, and it's like they try to regain the time. And so now you got, I've seen people who are 30 and 40 and 50 years old. It's like, it's no, it's going to be all about me. My 10 through 20 was all about them kids. That wasn't even my kids. The rest of this is going to be me. And I found individuals who basically break away from what we might describe as the norm.
Hmm.
And that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It's just that experience has impacted how they view things like family.
Okay. Now, is there Is there a difference between being responsible and then hyper responsible, if that's even a word?
I would I would like to say yes. There's I've met individuals that are so used to being responsible for everything, they're responsible for everything. Like things that aren't even their responsibility. They they've even had difficulty allowing other people to take responsibility for stuff.
Ooh. So now we're
Or I've
talking
seen
about
them,
control issues.
well, not necessarily control, blame I'm talking about.
Uh,
Like I
uh,
actually had a coworker who was like that, and there was a time where I promoted him to run a program, and like there were times when staff was messing up, and he was like, "No, that's on me." I'm like, "No, that's not on you. They suck." He's like, "No, that's on me. That's on me." I was like, "Yeah, I get it. I get it. You want to be that person, put it all on me." It's that LeBron. I like to call it like that LeBron James thing. I remember one time this man had scored like in the first half, he had scored like 20 something points and had like 8 rebounds and like 6 assists. And the coach was like, "You got to be better than that." He like, "Be better than that?" Yeah, you got to be better. He's like, I got 22. I got that. He's like, "We need you to be better." And then LeBron went out there and just did more. Like he just went crazy and they ended up winning the game. And I think some of us feel like we got to be like that. Like y'all ain't doing enough. Well, okay, I'm gonna score 80 tonight. That's not a sustainable goal. Sometimes you gotta look at your teammates and be like, "Hey, y'all, I need y'all to knock down shots." Like I'm not saying throw your team under the bus, but sometimes we have to allow other people to realize, no, this is you.
yeah.
And there's a way to do that. Some of us have never been able to do that. I'll put it on the flip side. I also have another individual that I work with, and they're so used to always having to be like take responsibility for stuff, even when things aren't their fault, they just take the blame. It
Mm,
just it kind of like spiraled into just being responsible for everything,
mm.
even things that aren't really their fault. And sometimes the things they take responsibility for are the parents' fault, and they'll just be apologized. I'm like, "Hey, you don't have to apologize for that. You're not wrong in that one. The parent may see it as such, but that's just because I'm sorry, your parent just sees it wrong. They're
Yeah.
and you in order to. That's all you know. Maybe you're doing this to keep peace. Maybe because taking responsibility for this is easier than being yelled at or fussed at or whatever. But I've seen people who just hyper take responsibility, and you can't be responsible for everything. Everything's not on you. That's not how life works. You can be responsible for what you have control over. Sometimes, sometimes you just, sometimes it's just not on you. Even if the
Mhm.
expectation is for it to be on you. Okay, I'll put it this way. When I was a kid, my cousin and I were supposed to be watching his little sister.
Mhm.
It was like, "Hey, watch your little sister." We as typical kids were having too much fun that we weren't watching her, and she snuck and hid behind this white furry uh, couch that we had. I'm
Mm.
old, so white furry furniture was cool back in the day. Just don't do that today, but white furry furniture was cool. And she was back there behind the white furry furniture, and we didn't see anything. I guess we were playing hide and go seek or whatever. I don't know. Only thing I know is when we found her, somehow she had got hold of a red marker. Do I need to tell you the rest of this story?
Yeah. See where that's going.
She all over that. I'm like, "Lady, you couldn't have found any other color." Red marker. I mean, we were gonna trying to scrub it off. We just could not get it out. And when her mother came in the room and saw it, she told my dad, and we got in trouble because we were supposed to be watching her.
Mhm.
We're supposed to be watching her. And I don't know if we got whooped for that or not. I know we got in a lot of trouble. I think we got like had to just go sit in a corner or something like that for a few hours because we were supposed to be watching her and we weren't. The adults were doing whatever the adults were doing. It wasn't nothing important. The adults were just playing and having fun, and they wanted us to be the babysitters, and we wanted to have fun too. And
Naturally.
because we were having fun, we did a poor job of babysitting. And I think at some point, parents aren't realistic. Like when kids get together, parents don't 100% pay attention to children. If
Yeah.
there's a parent on this line, I'm willing to bet most of the parents on this line have at some point taken their kids out in public, turned around and was like, "Where my baby go?"
For
Out
sure.
here lose you. So if you as an adult have lost track of a whole child, a whole human being, why do we
You
expect
expecting the
children
kid.
to
Right.
do better? Who whooped you? Did you get a spanking? Did you get a timeout? No, you just got to run and grab the baby and hold him and squeeze him and say, "Oh my God, don't you ever run away from me." No, no, run away from you. They're the child. You're the adult. You should have been paying attention. But you don't get a whooping. The kid does. And I think those unrealistic expectations become unhealthy because they expect the child to perform at a higher level than you expect an adult to. What are we
Mhm.
doing?
True. Definitely facts. And I know it was a different time from like our generation with being latchkey kids and having to watch others and so many other things that kids these days have exposure to that kind of adds to the responsibilities that they're already having to take on unnecessarily. How does that in adulthood or as they grow, how does that lead into self abandonment?
Well, again, I think we are taught how to take care of things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's just an innate skill. I believe you literally have to be taught how to take care of things, whether that's a bike, a plant,
Mm,
anything of value, you are taught how to take care of that. I think one of the things that we do is we especially with the older children that we have, most specifically the oldest child, we
right.
teach them to be responsible for their younger siblings. I don't remember a time when a parent literally taught me how to be responsible for me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been taught how not to get in trouble, what things to stay away from to get your butt from getting beat.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody actually told me, how do you take care of a Jake? Case in point, you get a car, they tell you every so many miles you need an oil change.
Right.
Every so many miles you need to rotate the tires. There are things you need. Every so many miles you need to make sure you go and get a checkup on it, a tune up on it. They tell you, what do I need to do to make sure that this car lasts me as long as possible and performs at its peak? Got a whole manual for it.
Right.
But nobody teaches you how to take care of you. Past brush your teeth, wash your behind, go to sleep when I tell you to, eat your vegetables, and do that homework before I beat your behind. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, but what does Jake actually need? How do I even identify what I actually need? And once I identify it, how do I actually make sure I create time and space for me to get those things? And because those things don't typically benefit the parent directly, we don't focus on it.
Mm-hmm.
As a therapist, I find that most people bring their children to therapy once the behavior of the child impacts the life of the parent negatively. As long as it's not negatively impacting the life of the parent, parents can put up with most of the stuff kids do. But when the child's problem becomes the parent's problem, they will oftentimes drop their child off. The problem is most of those very same parents are unwilling to admit the reality that that child's problem, they caused it, or at
Right.
least were in some part responsible for it. So they'll drop the kid off, but I'm like, but the problem you. Can I schedule you for 5 o'clock? See them at
Right.
4, see them at 5? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
No, no, they be all right. Just fix them.
Oh,
But you the problem.
I dislike that so much when parents, they sign their children up for therapy or some kind of mentorship and they expect the professional to quote unquote, like you said, fix their kid. But we can work with them and give them all the coping skills, all the room to express themselves that they need to heal and whatever they need to do to overcome emotional and mental barriers. And then they go back home and everything's undone because the parent hasn't changed. How does that affect a child as they grow in being able to set boundaries for themselves?
I'll put it this way. I'm able to hold my adult children accountable
Hmm.
because I'm accountable to them. I
Mm,
model the behavior.
Mm.
I never ask my children to do anything that they haven't already seen me do. My children are not allowed to yell at each other because I don't yell at my children. Well, they're grown now, but you can ask them. I don't yell at them. That's never been my MO. I use
Mm.
my words. I don't use my. The only time I might use my volume is to get their attention. Once I've gotten their attention, I use my words because I am an emotionally regulated, mature adult. I don't have the right to throw an adult temper tantrum at a child because they can't do anything back. Because if the child exploded at me the same way I exploded at them, I'd have a problem with it. Well, why? I modeled that behavior.
So it's
If I
normal.
hit my kid if I hit my kid every time they do something I don't like, and then they hit somebody else when the other person does something they don't like, and we want, well, why'd you hit Johnny? Well, you told me. You showed me that when people do things you don't like, you hit them. That's how you correct the behavior. Well, he got to learn. So I hit him. Well, that's not the same thing. It's not the same, but it's similar enough for me to learn the behavior and to transfer it. They Children will do what you do more often than they will do what you say. And so if I my biggest thing has always been, how do I model this for my kid? How do I show them? Um, I've always told them, parents be like, you them ain't your friends. That's one of the parents' favorite line.
Mhm.
Them ain't really your friends. You ain't really got all them friends. I didn't
Mhm.
just tell my children that. I model that for them, and I have that conversation with them often. Growing up, how many friends have you seen? Like two. So you done known me 20 something years, your whole life. How many friends can you name that I had coming through the house? Two, maybe three. Learn the lesson.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you to do something that I don't actually practice. I want you to do the thing that I'm actually doing, not what I'm saying. Do what I do. I'm modeling for you. I'm not asking you to be very intentional about who you hang around. Without me doing the exact same thing. We have to model it. In the areas where we don't model it, they watching us. They're just watching us, and we have to be able to give grace in that. I can ask them to be responsible because I'm responsible. I can ask them to be accountable because I'm accountable, and I'm not just accountable to my wife. I'm accountable to my children. They have the right to hold me accountable. If I say I'm going to do something, I have to do it. And if I don't, there's a consequence behind that. I messed up. I need to, at bare minimum, be accountable for it. It's a lot of this is about modeling, not necessarily taking away certain responsibilities, but being realistic being realistic and modeling, knowing that this is a child, knowing that allowing them room to mess up, allowing them room to explore and do stupid stuff. Like, all right, I remember one time JJ was on punishment.
Mhm.
Not on punishment. I made him stand in the corner.
Mhm.
And while he was in the corner, I don't know where he got a spoon from. That's a whole nother problem. Where did he get a spoon from?
Just
The
add it
only
on
thing
this
I know is,
person.
just, did you have it in your pocket? Like, did you, why you got a spoon? I hope he don't see this. He gonna be so mad. And while he was standing in the corner, he just dug a hole in the wall. Kind of like in those movies where they trying to, like, like in the movies when they're in prison, be taking a spoon trying to
Yes.
dig their hole to freedom. That's the only thing that makes sense to me is he was trying to dig his hole to freedom.
Stop. He did
And
not.
when I took him out the corner, I asked him the dumbest question. What was the question I asked him?
Why did you do that?
Thank you. Ain't that a dumb question? I asked him that question as if there was an answer he could give me that
Right.
would make that make sense.
Right. Because it doesn't.
Because there's nothing he could say. So
Even
why
if
would I
it's
ask
funny.
him a question to set him up for failure? That's bad parenting. I'm asking him a question that I know is just going to piss me off,
Okay,
get me
so
on.
then what would a more progressive approach be?
How are you going to fix that wall? I don't know how. Well, guess what you about to do today? You're going to learn. Because I know what his answer was. You know what his answer was?
I don't know.
I don't know. And the
Hmm.
truth of the matter was, he didn't know why he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't know. He was in a corner, he was bored, and he did it what in that moment felt like something he should be doing. He might have disassociated. In that moment, he might have been daydreaming that he was in a prison and was so deep into that daydream that he forgot he was actually in my dining room. I don't know what it was, but he didn't know. And so one of the things I had to learn to model for my children is being fair. Being fair to yourself and definitely being fair to others. And me asking him that question wasn't fair. That just wasn't a fair question. That's just me duplicating some of the stupid stuff my parents did and not learning from that behavior and changing something.
Mm.
Changing something. Why he did it wasn't the biggest problem. Who was going to fix that hole in the wall was my big issue.
Right.
So make
Right.
them a part of the solution. That's teaching accountability and responsibility. Like, listen, you dug this hole in the wall. Maybe you and your therapist can figure out why you did it. I don't make enough to teach you why you to figure out why you did it. But what we can do is we about to go get this spackle. We're about to go get
Mhm.
some paint, and you're gonna learn how to patch a wall. So you're gonna learn that when I mess stuff up, I'm also responsible for fixing it. That's and now he learned something. Heck, he might have ended up becoming a carpenter. Now, am I saying that's what I did? Of course not. I've learned this stuff later. I
Right.
said,
Right.
"Why the heck you stick that hole in the
Of
wall?"
course.
But after when you reflect back on that, you're like, Jake, you didn't process through that well. He's a kid. He doesn't know why he's doing it. Because honestly, the average adult, I'll put it to you like this: the average adult wakes up every Monday morning and does something they don't really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when you ask them, why aren't you doing the thing you really wanted to do as a kid? They don't know why. They don't really know why. It's just, this is where I am. I'm just doing it. I
Yeah.
got bills to pay. This was available. I don't really know why this, but this is what I'm doing. So again, if us as adults don't know why we do most of the stuff that we do, why do you expect a child to do it? And so if you don't know, model that acceptance, model that, hey, sometimes we don't know why what we do in life, model that, but also teach them the accountability. Despite the fact that you don't know, there's a cost associated with the decision that you made. You're going to pay that cost.
Yeah. Ooh.
I don't know if that answered the question. I'll be going off on these tangents. Like my
That's
brain be connecting
okay.
other
That's
dots.
okay. Because I feel like, tangent or not, what needed to be said or what you said needed to be heard by whoever is either currently on this live or who's going to watch the recap. So I never, because sometimes I can go off on a tangent. So I never look at that as a bad thing. Then I lost my train of thought of what my so what about the instances where there are parents that not only tell their kids the right thing to do, but model it, but then the kid still veers left?
They tell the child the right thing to do, and then they
Mhm.
model the right thing to do, and then the other kids veer left. There could be several reasons why the kids veer left. They could veer left because what you're saying and what you're modeling to them looks stupid.
Mm.
Remember when parents told us just go to school, get good grades, go to a good college, get a good job, make a whole bunch of money?
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
when we gonna
It
hold them
doesn't
accountable for
align
that
with their
last?
needs.
So the crazy part about it, one thing I love about working with these students today is they know that's a lie.
Yes.
They know it, and they're starting to rebel. And me being the person that I am, have a very difficult time telling them, no, just get in line, do what you know is right. But they're like, but I'm looking at the outcome, and if you broke, and I do
Mhm.
what you do, how am I not going to be broke?
Right.
So there are a lot of times when we think we're modeling for the kid, like, are you modeling for the kid? They're like, well, you need to. I tell my kids that they need to do their homework, but your notes late at work every day. Yeah, I tell them they need to read every day. Them kids ain't seen you pick up a book. They don't even know if you own a book. Do you own a book besides the Bible? Do you own a book? When the last time you went to a bookstore? Do you know where the nearest bookstore is?
Oh
You
my.
know what I'm saying? Just like we say, we're telling the kids the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at your actions, are you? Now, let's just say, for instance, yes, you are.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
They're just doing amazing. Sometimes you have three types of learners. You have auditory, kinesthetic, and
Visual.
visual. Thank you. Slow
Mm-hmm.
moment. You can tell a kid what to do, and they can see you doing it, and still their process says, no, I need to do trial and error.
Mm.
That can be quite frustrating. If that's how they learn, that's just how they learn.
Yeah.
That's how that. So you might have to do a little bit more. What you might have to do is experimentation that allows them to come to that same conclusion on their own, and let them tell you. So, oh, child. So you telling me what you need to do is, hey, yo, that makes sense.
Hmm.
But that takes time, patience,
Yeah.
effort, creativity. That's the long way around the block. The problem with most of us parents is we get off of a long day of work. We ain't got time for all that. We want the quickest, simplest result.
Yeah.
And ain't nothing in our adult life ever been quick, simple, or easy.
Ooh, sharpen
But we
up.
want the kids to be quick, simple, and easy. Like again, these unrealistic expectations be a big part of our stress. JJ signed up for college.
Really?
You see, look at your face. You see that? Exactly. You see that? He wasn't gonna do it when I told him to.
That's amazing.
Sometimes you just got to get out of these kids. JJ is a kinesthetic learner. You
Hmm.
can show him and tell him all you want. He don't care. He's always been the do it himself person, and he's going to do it his way and his time. That's just how he's built. It can be frustrating as a parent to have to parent that type of child.
Hmm.
It is what it is. He caused me to have to grow. He caused me to have to do things differently. He is going to push all boundaries.
Hmm.
That's
What?
just how he works. And I had to learn about being a parent is learning that it's okay if my children learn differently.
Yeah. That's amazing. I'm proud of him.
See, here's the thing. He's not externally motivated.
Hmm.
So me telling him to do it wasn't going to be enough. It had to matter to him.
Right.
And he was working in the school district, as you know, and he
Hmm.
was just watching these kids. He was like, I just really want to be able to do more for them. Well, right now you're just a security guard. There's only so much you can do. He's
Right.
like, I think I want to be like a counselor or therapist or something like you. I says, well, I'm sorry. That's going to require some schooling.
Yes.
That, that's the rule of the game. So I was like, and that means it's gonna suck because you've been out of school for a minute, which means heck, if you barely passed when you was in there, you it ain't gonna be easier now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be harder. But guess what? You're good at doing hard stuff. You'll be all right. Call me if you need any help and support. He had to do it his way and his time, and I think I had to model that for him because I'm a non-traditional student. I'm a person who dropped out of college. I'm a person who went back at age 28 to finish their bachelor's. I'm a person who went back at age 40 to get their master's. And I'm gonna be just under 50 when I finish my PhD.
Hmm.
It's I model for him like, yeah, sometimes you don't do it according to a certain way. Like you don't just come out of high school and straight through. That don't work for everybody. That didn't work for me. Life happened, yada yada yada.
Hmm.
But you still do it if you need to do it.
Right.
And I tell them, hey, don't feel like you're behind the eight ball because you're gonna be just starting at age 24. 25. At 25, you'll just be starting college. So you're gonna be in 25 in college classes with 18-year-olds. So who told you that you had to do it at 18? You did it when you were ready to. And here's the difference. When you go to college, your focus gonna be different. Because you're not doing this to make mommy and daddy proud. You're
Yes.
doing this because this matters to you. And I've always taught my kids, hey, look, I love y'all, but I need y'all not to care about what I think. I know that sounds crazy and counterintuitive. I need you not to care what I think. This is your life. You cannot not live your life because you're worried about what I think.
Yeah.
There's going to be times where I'm not going to agree with your decisions, and you need to just be okay with that. You have to learn to be okay with it. And I've fostered that in them since they were very little. You do not have to fight for my approval or my love. I love you, and I will not always approve of everything you do. But this is your life. You got to deal with the good, the bad, and the ugly, not me. So live your life. You don't owe me anything
That's
but to
dope.
be free.
Right.
And so he's living his life. And my job is to best of my ability to just support him in it where I can,
Hmm.
because that's me modeling it for him. I want to model him love and patience and time because he might decide to go ahead and have a kid. And I
Hmm.
want to show him when he has kids, I want him to model that as well, like love and patience and understanding with guidance.
Of
But
course.
guidance, understanding, like, listen, you should go left. But if you go right, I got my popcorn. It's already popped. I got my popcorn and my bandages. We're gonna sit and watch the show, and again, go ahead and roll on out the olive oil or whatever. we gonna get you together. It's some herbal remedies. You know what I'm saying? We model for them what it means to be patient and empathetic and caring and kind and understanding, not just what it means to be on time,
Mm,
to
that's a
have a
good
clean
right
house.
there.
I mean, those are great skills to have too, but I
Right.
promise you, nobody's going to remember me for how clean my living room was. He was a good man, and by golly, his living room was spotless. Like nobody cares, but they will remember that I was kind.
Mm-hmm.
That when they came to me, they could talk to me about anything, and I didn't judge. At least not out loud.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I thought it, I kept it to myself.
Right. You don't want to bring on more discouragement.
No, you models that I got one of the best compliments ever this week. I had a client, a young client, who has a lot of trauma to the point that he does not work with men.
Mm.
Male doctors, male mentors. He does not work with men. I'm the first male anything he's
Mm-hmm.
ever worked with. And he was like, man, I really feel safe. And like I could be myself around you and I trust you. Like you're the first person. I was just like, wow, that was what I was shooting for.
Yeah.
I wanted you to feel seen and safe and heard. And even if I don't understand that I want you to know that I'm trying to, I'm putting forth every effort to. I want you to be you here and know that you're going to probably say and do some things that I'm not necessarily going to understand or agree with, but it ain't my job to understand or agree. It's my job
Yeah.
to love you and support you as you heal yourself. That's
Yeah.
my only job. Create this safe space for you. And for him to say he felt safe, I was like, man, I appreciate that. Um, I know that I'm on the right track. And hopefully, as he matures and grows up, when he has the opportunity to be that safe space for somebody else, he remembers the feeling of our interaction and
Mm-hmm.
provides that same feeling for someone else. We're all about modeling.
Yeah. That's dope. It was like recently I kind of had to take a step back because I was frustrated with Kyra for similar things, not sticking with school. And she's in a place now where she doesn't really know what she wants to do. And it's like our situation that we're in, even though I don't want to have to need her financially to help with household things, I still need her to learn independence to some degree.
Whew.
And you know what I've been dealing with
You're
that.
because all right, now I'm gonna step into the realm of a little bit sexist. You're a really dope mom.
Oh,
You
thanks.
are just an amazing mom. Moms don't traditionally teach independence.
Yeah.
Not to say that they
They
can't,
don't, right, because
and
my
let me say
mom
they don't. I said
definitely did.
traditionally,
Yeah. Yeah.
traditionally. And one thing I love about Kyra, she has something so rare that it scares me. She still has this aura of innocence and like almost this naiveness.
Hmm.
And I say that as a compliment. It's a beautiful thing because these kids get exposed to so much so early. It's like they're robbed of their childhood before they even realize they're children. And she doesn't have that. I haven't seen her in a while. Life happens,
Right.
but she had it way past when children typically lose it.
Hmm.
And that strikes me as a mom who's like, look, I really tried to keep her away from the bad things.
Boy,
The flip side of that is lions and bears are how you learn to fight Goliath.
facts.
Lions and bears are how you learn to fight Goliath. And we as parents are so afraid of the bear getting our children
Hmm.
that they never learn to fight lions and bears. But Goliath is coming.
Yeah.
For each and every one, Goliath comes. And my biggest fear was that my children wouldn't be ready to fight. I'm a jerk of a parent. No, I'm not, but I like to
Why
say that I
you
am
say
because
that?
I find joy in certain
Like you
weird things.
always say that. No, you are not.
No, because my favorite experience as a parent, my favorite, I promise you, these are not jokes. I mean this wholeheartedly. My favorite experience as a parent is teaching a kid to ride a bike.
Mm.
Hands down, there's nothing that I enjoy more than watching them learn to ride a bike.
Why so?
Because because there's that moment when you let go of the bike
Mm-hmm. Mm.
and they crash.
Yes.
Oh, they crash. I mean, and hopefully they crash good. I want to see some like torn clothes, maybe a couple bruises and some scrapes. I want it to hurt. I want it to hurt. Like, why would you want that for your kid? Because in that moment, you find out just what type of kid you got. They're gonna cry,
Right.
but
That's
are they gonna
another one.
cry and get back on the bike, or they gonna cry and run in the house?
Yeah.
You find out what type of kid you got right then and there. You already know. "Oh, I'm gonna have to hold this one, this one, this one." But it may like, but watching them cry and wipe their tears and get back on the bike, you're like, you're gonna be okay. Which is why I've seen my kids have some really, really rough moments and have been able to be like, you know what? They learned to ride a bike. I
Yeah.
watched them fall. I seen them cry. I saw them hurt and they got back on. This will be just another bike experience. But then every once in a while you get a JJ.
Mm-hmm.
JJ was like, I don't need your help.
Stubborn.
Stubborn. I
He
don't
was
need your help. I'm like,
definitely
Negro, you are
stubborn.
5. I don't need your help. He said, I don't need your help. So I said, fine, here's the bike. I went in the house, fixed me a bologna sandwich. This is back in the day, back when I was eating nasty stuff. Eating a bologna sandwich,
Seriously.
had me some chips and some red Kool-Aid.
Oh, but they used to hit though. We go.
It did. Thank God for new jobs. Hallelujah. Here we go. So I'm watching TV and stuff for like a half an hour. First of all, I'm a horrible parent because, like, why was I leaving my kid outside for half an hour unattended? Whatever. But he was on the porch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Just I'm like, dude, uh, you're going to need me. But after about a half an hour, he never came in the house. So I'm like, is he good?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I came outside. He was down on the sidewalk, riding his bike up and down the sidewalk.
Figured it out.
He was like, I'm gonna figure it out. He was too stubborn to ask for help. He's like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to do it without you because I said I would. And he taught me a very valuable lesson. Some kids learn differently.
Yeah.
JJ wasn't the hold my bike and let help me out. JJ was like, I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna fall, and I know you won't be there to pick me up. I'm good. I'm gonna get myself up.
Mm. And
I
that
had
has
to
some benefits.
all of it does. All of it does. The benefit of Kyra is she has a sweetness to her that people don't have these days. The downside is I'm fearful because I think people could take advantage of her innocence.
Yep.
She had no
I
street
think
smarts.
about
She
that.
wouldn't see it coming because she
Yeah.
would think everybody is as kind as she is, and they're not.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you need both people in the world.
For sure. And
You
I
need,
was just talking with I had this conversation with my sister because after our recent struggles, then they kind of figured out like, oh no, they seriously need us to rally around them and help. And I told them, I said, I need help with her. Like, I don't know what else to do to kind of help encourage her in that area. And I know I have prepared her, like, my whimsical spiritual side. I have definitely prepared her in that realm. Not so much in the physical as far as independence and being more aware because I was so hung up on trying not to be how my mother was with me and my sister, with being the do as I say, not as I do, being harsh, Children should be seen, not heard. Like um, I wanted her to be vocal in how she felt. I wanted to validate her emotions. I wanted to teach her how to make her own decisions and things like that. So the pressure part I didn't push because I didn't like that from my mom, although there were benefits from it because I could take care of myself. But at the same time, I also got kicked out at 18, you know? So for the parents that may have grown up with the type of mom that I have and have raised their children similar in the ways that I've raised Kyra, where they not so much give them everything that they want, but that kind of push that they need into independence and that thing, what would be your recommendation?
For the parents who kind of push their kids into that independence,
Yeah, to
I,
help
what
them
I hate,
without.
I promise you, one of the things I hate the most is this one size fits all parenting models. There
True.
ain't an answer. There just isn't one. And anybody says there is one is just trying to sell you a book. There are many different paths because there are many different people. It's like life requires IEPs. Life requires an IEP for everyone. Everyone should get an individualized education plan because we all learn differently. And my kids taught me that because I got five. And you met my kids. They have their similarities. They all love to argue and debate anything, but they're
Correct.
definitely
Yes,
five very different people that
extremely.
I had to treat them differently. If I pushed Brianna, she fought back.
Mm,
If I pushed Raymond, he imploded.
mm,
If I pushed Johnny, he imploded.
mhm.
If I pushed Jason, he kind of fought back too. And so I'm just like, well, what's the motto? The motto is you've got to get to learn your child as an individual
Oh,
and find
yes.
out what they need. The same way you do in any relationship.
Yeah.
You learn the person as an individual. Children are no different. They are individuals. You have to take the time to learn them. Our problem is we spend more time teaching our children than we do learning them.
Yeah.
You just got to sit and my father said something a few years ago. He said he was laughing at me. He was like, "You got all these people fooled." I said, "What you mean?" He says, "You got these people thinking you mean." And I laughed with him because he's probably the only person on this planet that knows I'm a crybaby. I'm very sensitive. I
Hmm.
just won't allow most people to ever see that side.
Right.
And so when I you know me, I don't joke and I don't play with most people. If I joke and I play with you, you are definitely in my inner
In a
circle. Like I
circle
just
for
don't. I keep those lines very clear and concise for a reason. And my father just like, man, so people think that that's what the side they see of you is you. Like, no, that's my character. That's a character that I play. That's my Sasha Fierce.
sure.
It's who I have to be in my professional world. That ain't me. I mean, it is me. It is an aspect me, but it is not me in my totality. We are who we are.
Hmm.
And only a person who takes the time to get to know us will realize who we really are. I'll put it this way: I oftentimes have adult women in therapy, and I get it. I'm starting to get it. I'll never get it. I will never get it because I'm a man, and I will never get it. But I can become less ignorant.
Thank you for saying that.
And a lot of times they'll present in session as very mean or aggressive or just I don't want to say strong, but just like overbearing. It's like, I'm a tough guy. Don't mess with me.
Mhm.
And them be the biggest teddy bears. Like
Facts.
once they realize I'm safe,
Hmm.
that I'm not the bear in the room with them, this other side comes out. And I'm just like, where's that person been? And they're like, can't let people see that person. Because whenever I'm that person, the wolves come out. And I'm like,
Hmm.
I get that. I can't tell you how to navigate that space because I ain't got no wolves chasing after me.
Right.
What I do say is that you got to find you someplace where you don't have to worry about a bear. You got to find you some spaces where you don't have to worry about the bear in the room. But I've learned from that people show up how they feel they need to show up to survive, how they feel they need to show up to survive. And I can't ever knock a person for surviving. I work in a school in Akron,
Mm-hmm.
and I see these kids who are what we refer to as hyper aggressive. I told them, I don't have a problem with that. And it's like, well, why don't you have a problem with that? I said, if I lived where they lived, I'd be hyper aggressive too. Hyper
Right.
aggressive keeps them safe. If I
Right.
punch you in the eye in front of everybody, how likely is somebody to mess with me? And you saw me punch this person dead in the eye and split their stuff.
Yeah. And you're like,
Everybody who
oh,
saw
no
that, do they
problem.
you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
If everybody knows, hey, look, Jake, listen, you say the slightest thing to him, ain't gonna be no conversation. Next thing you know, you gonna have a chair upside your head.
Mm-hmm.
People be like, I'm gonna just leave him alone. And so after a while, you play this role for so long, it feels like this is your identity.
Right.
Now on the flip side, imagine this. Imagine a kid who got smacked upside the head all the time, from the time they were like 4 to the time they were 10.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine you reached your hand out them and they didn't flinch. You think something was wrong with that kid. Like, why haven't you learned to duck or bob or weave or nothing?
Right.
The average kid who flinches is because they've been hit a lot. Their flinching ain't the problem. The flinching is an adaptation. It means their body has learned that danger is coming, try to get out the way of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be worried about the kid who didn't learn to duck.
Hmm.
Like, why aren't you learning to survive? Like, what's going on with your development that you're not learning to protect yourself? As a species, we have learned to protect ourselves. But what we call suboptimal, while we use the term, no, it's not suboptimal. The term is maladaptive.
Mm-hmm.
Maladaptive literally means that this adaptation works in one environment. It keeps me safe in this one environment. The problem is, I'm not in that environment right now. In
Mm-hmm.
this other environment, it's not necessary. It actually might hurt me. It's preventing me from accessing certain things. So it's maladaptive. Maladaptive means that kid is smart. That kid is brilliant. They've been able to adapt to their environment. The problem is they haven't learned how to turn that switch on and off, like code switching.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't learned how to do that with that behavior. In some environments, people need to be punched in the face. I don't know if that's therapeutic or not, but I've met some folk that just, you know what, you just need the crap slapped out of you. If I'm wrong, don't worry, I'm taking some classes right now. Maybe they'll teach me otherwise. But I know some folk, they don't understand English.
Right.
They don't understand English, but they know sign language, and they can get these hands. It is what it is. But the
Rated E.
problem is, but everybody don't need sign language. Some people just need words. And so if you're in an environment with somebody that needs sign language and you try to use words, you're gonna get beat up. I don't see how that's smart, especially if you're in that environment and you have to be in that environment. Like, I don't really see myself just getting beat up just so I can be the nice person. I'm just not built that way. Maybe that's an area I need to grow in. I don't really want to grow in that area. I kind of like not getting beat up. You know what I'm saying? So but what I found is with the meanest, toughest, roughest kids, once they really realize they're safe,
Mm-hmm.
they be different.
Yes, we've definitely seen that in sessions. Just for instance, the one client that I just happened to sit in and you were getting nowhere with them. And
Oh,
then I come in and just bits and pieces in the conversation and you tell me that's the most they ever said anything.
I know that my very presence as a male was a trigger for him.
Right.
So it was going to take me forever
Just to
to
get
get
that
nowhere.
little piece that I got out of them.
If the male you're supposed to trust verbally and physically abuses you, and this is the one you're supposed to trust, why would you trust the one you ain't supposed to trust, the stranger? So
Facts.
his walls, I did not expect them to come down easily. That would be illogical. But his mom is a safe space. So
Right.
someone who same race, same gender, same skin tone as mom, Oh, I could see him very easily opening up to that person, and we watched it happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the reasons why I'm working on my PhD, talking about leveraging race and gender in therapy. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why aren't we seeing that as an asset? Like, these things are helpful
Yes. Yeah.
and necessarily. Like, imagine, and I know I'm going off tangent again, but I can't wait to write a book on this one.
No, go ahead.
Imagine having a Jewish person in therapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And imagine assigning them to a therapist who was German.
Ooh.
See your face? I didn't tell you anything else about the scenario.
Right,
But
but oh,
that's all you knew. No more context. You just knew right then and there with just that. All that's all you know about this person. I ain't say they were American born German or nothing. I just like you already saw the potential problem of that.
yep. Yeah,
Now imagine a
man.
now imagine a kid growing up in an environment where every teacher looks different than him by gender and by race and has treated him terribly, and then I was assigning him that person as a therapist and expecting him not to feel triggered and to be safe enough to talk about real trauma.
Yeah, never gonna happen.
And
Or not likely to happen.
I'm not saying that it can't happen. I just think it'd be far more likely and far more effective if you put somebody who seemed familiar, like somebody from the same neighborhood. It's a young black man, get him a young black male therapist. And I get the argument. They're going to say, well, there aren't enough black male therapists, and they are correct.
Mm-hmm.
But I find it interesting that we start recruiting kids for basketball in what, third grade?
Mm.
We start training them for basketball in what, kindergarten?
Yeah.
So we train athletes. We train black men to become athletes. We train black men to become entertainers, rappers and singers and dancers and actors. How come we can't train young black men to become future therapists and future teachers? I mean,
Right.
we could, but then we would actually have people qualified to meet the need. And that would
Mm-hmm.
F up a system.
Hmm.
I'm just simply saying that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. I just figured I'd put that out there for free. That don't mean nothing.
Okay. I
I'm
mean,
just talking out the side of my neck. I don't know what I'm talking about.
now, because we over 8 minutes. Okay. And I don't want to keep you because I want to stay within the time frame, respect everybody's time.
That's cool. I can
Um,
do this all day. I love this stuff.
um, this whole thing with Black families, and since we're talking about emotional suppression, generational silence, this idea of not saying anything to keep the peace. Let's just say in extreme circumstances, a family member inappropriately has
Hmm.
something with another, with a minor, and the family knows. We don't talk about that. Keep that quiet.
So the hard part is I don't know if there's a middle ground. I don't know yet. I'm still playing with this as of right now. I don't think there is a middle ground,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I'll just go with what I think right now. So if people disagree, I wouldn't argue with you on it, except for
Mhm.
fun. But my niece, I love my niece Sage so very much,
Mhm.
but she lives in another city, so she hasn't had a lot of time around me. I've seen her maybe 4 times, and she's 5 now.
Okay.
So I haven't seen her much. And I remember not the last time or the time before that, but 2 times ago. At this point in time, she's maybe 3 years old. She might have seen me once before.
Mhm.
And her mother asked her, do you want to give your uncle a hug? And she said, no. Old school would have been like, go give your uncle a hug.
Yep. I was just gonna say, I like that she asked her if she wanted to.
She's teaching her daughter what's called bodily autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
And she said no. Now, honestly, did that feel some type of way that my niece didn't want to give me a hug? Of course it did.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a me problem. Sounds like I need to spend some time with her. Now she sees me. Now that we spent time together and we played games and stuff together. And I went out to Minnesota a few months ago, and I spent so much time with her. So much time with her that she cried when I left.
Oh,
Now, when it was time for me to leave, do you think she wanted to give me a hug?
of course.
She You see what I'm saying? Because I developed the relationship with her and showed her that I was safe.
Right.
But the amazing part was that her mother taught her that she had the right to decide who she showed affection to and how she showed affection to her. She
Dope.
teaches her that she's a human being, that
Mhm.
when it's time for bed, it's okay if you're upset and don't want to go to bed. It's okay if those being upset makes you want to cry. She didn't say shut up before I give you something to cry about. That's just lazy parenting.
Oh,
And I mean that with the bottom of my heart. That is just lazy parenting. You don't need to give them something to cry about. They're already crying, stupid.
right. Never understood that. Oh.
I know her.
Oh.
And she helps her process through those emotions and those feelings.
Mhm.
She still got to go to bed though.
Right. But at least she feels heard and knows that she's going to be able to express why she's having those feelings or why she doesn't like it, and then understand that, yes, I understand you feel this way and you think this way, but this is why you have to do this. It's like a mutual
Now,
understanding. I love that.
now imagine when somebody of authority tries to tell her she needs to do something she really don't need to be doing. She's already conditioned that if something doesn't seem right or convince right or feel right, that I shouldn't be doing this. And I have the right to say no.
Mhm.
And I don't care if you're the teacher or uncle or
Mhm.
grandpa. I don't care who you are. If it doesn't feel right, I have the right to say no. And you can't make me do something I don't want to do. Does that come with problems as a parent? Of course it does. It means
Mhm.
on some things, you're going to have to sit and talk with them like they're an adult and help them to understand why either doing something is advantageous or not doing it is advantageous. And that takes time and patience because you're treating them like a person, not property.
Right.
Slaves don't require an explanation. Remember, your children aren't slaves. They're not your property. They are human beings. They came here to have a lived experience, and you are their guide. You're not their slave owner. You're not their
Man.
master. They're not your property. Help guide them. If the creator don't beat you over the head and lets you gives you some autonomy, why can't your child have some within reason? You want to keep them
Right.
safe. But a lot of these kids just want to understand. There's a book out there for those who question this. It's called The Four Fudge. It's not the four attributes. Oh, I can't look it up because I'm a thing. I forgot it.
Not
But
the
it
four
talks about
agreements.
not the four agreements,
Okay.
the four tendencies. It's called the four tendencies. I encourage every parent to read it because I had to give it to my one parent because she's like, why does my son ask all these doggone questions? I said, you got two choices. You can have the kid who asks a whole bunch of questions, or the kid who asks none. If I got to choose between the two, I'll take the one who asks a whole bunch of questions. Smart
Mhm.
kids ask a lot of questions.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
no, I'm actually a jerk. I would like, listen, you can have the smart kid or the dumb kid. Pick one. You can't have both. If you want your kid, do you want your kid to be the smart kid or dumb kid? If you say dumb, then we're going to tell your kid to shut up and just do what you're told.
Mm. Man, that validated me to to an extent because my mother was like that. She was the you belong to me. Like she used to say that frequently as if, but not in the way of like I was her child, I was her daughter. It came off as I'm her property. Like you belong to me and fear me. Like, why should I fear you? You're my mother. Respect, yes. Fear, and that's what put me in my emotional suppression and why it was difficult for me and still at times depending on the situation for me to vocalize how I'm feeling, my needs, my wants, because that's what was instilled in me. Be seen, not heard. And anything that I expressed, whether, especially if it was a dislike of something, then I was in trouble and got beat, and I must fear her. So that taught me, okay, I'm safe if I be quiet, and grew up into that.
I don't like that I taught my children to fear me. I am happy that I learned early enough that that was unhealthy and was able to start shifting that energy. I don't
Mhm.
want my kids to ever feel me because fear only looks like respect to the ignorant. Because if you rule by fear, what do you do when your boys end up bigger than you? Now you got to shoot them. Now you got to shoot them. But if they respect you, my kids still respect me now, and they grown. You know, they respect my opinion. They don't fear me. They have nothing to fear. I would never put my hands on my kids ever. I love my kids. But they respect me, and I love that because I remember growing up with fear. But I also remember to the point where I ain't fear no more. It got really weird then because I'm like,
yes,
I wrestle and I box. I think I could take you. No, I couldn't have. I would have lost really, really bad, but I thought I could. You know what I'm saying? I just knew that energy. I remember that, oh crap, dad was home energy. I didn't want my kids to say, oh crap, dad was home. I wanted to be like, oh yay, dad was home.
Yeah.
And I believe that my kids grew up being excited when they saw my car pull up in the driveway. I believe they had that childhood. And so I'm not saying I was a perfect parent. I was far from it, but I think I got that right.
Yeah.
I think I got that right. And I'm kind of strict. So if being strict, comparatively speaking, you can still have an environment where kids are happy when you get home. I think some of us just doing too much and not enough at the same time. That's what we got.
Love it. Okay, this is gonna be the last one, and then I'm for real.
Cool. You got 10% left on this phone anyway, so that's all we got. It's gonna end it for one of us eventually. So.
Right. Well, I made sure I was charged beforehand, but that's neither here nor there. Anywho, can you break down or explain briefly, or how briefly? I can't tell you briefly how suppressed emotions show up in the body, or have you had experience with that with your clients? Okay.
Yes. However they won't.
What you mean? Oh, just however it comes out.
At age 32, 33, something like that, I developed extreme claustrophobia. I always had it to some degree. It became extreme to the point I couldn't ride on airplanes without having panic attacks. Like full-blown panic attacks, just out of nowhere. I had finally come to a place in life where money was cool, bills was paid. I was out of the trauma phase of life of like, oh my God, are we going to get evicted? Oh my God, is the car going to get repo? I was finally in a place where I was comfortable, where like I was stable. And then all that childhood trauma was like, you good? I was like, yeah, I'm good. It was like, cool. Now you can deal with us. So for 20 years, I was always dealing from one problem to the next problem. I didn't have time to deal with my stuff. So it just got pressed and it just compounded and compounded. And when I finally got to the point where I was cool, when I was in a safe environment, financially and physically and stuff like that, those emotions came again. They manifested themselves in the form of like massive claustrophobia. And I think it did that because I couldn't avoid it. It's like, no, you're going to acknowledge me. And like, so my emotion was feelings of abandonment, feelings of not being safe. It was all rooted in that. And I had a childhood experience that taught me, or that I learned from that experience, that I wasn't safe and nobody was going to protect me. And so I tried to suppress those feelings, but that's not how they work. You suppress it all you want. It will come back out when it's ready to, and how it's ready to. And like, no, you will deal with me. And I had to heal from that.
Yeah.
I had to heal and forgive. But the first thing I had to do was accept it. Like, man, wow, I felt unsafe. I felt unprotected. I felt alone. I felt like I couldn't depend on anybody. And I had to process all of those and just be honest about this is how I felt. and forget how people feel about, quote unquote, putting me in a scenario to make me feel that way. The fact of the matter is, I still have to live with the aftermath of that, and I have to deal with it. So when you suppress those emotions, I can't tell you how they're going to come out.
Yes.
Sometimes, and it could come out in so you just don't know, but it's going to come out the way it needs to come out to make sure it gets attention. It's going to get your attention, and it may cost you. The best way would be if it came out on purpose. But then you'd actually have to go looking for it. And most of us is like, well, if it ain't bothering me, I ain't bothering it. Okay, give it time.
Mm-hmm.
In therapy, we dig, but we can only dig as deep as the client is willing to go. And so if you want to scratch the surface, not a problem. But when it comes out, I can't tell you when or how or what's going to be the catalyst, but when it does, I I've been intentional in therapy over the last couple of years, just really trying to deal with my stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because on the flip side of that, you don't know how you not dealing with your stuff is blocking you in so many different areas of your life, spiritually, financially, relationally, emotionally, physically.
Yes.
It's it blocks you. And until you deal with it, it's like you shall not pass.
Mm-hmm.
And so many of us are like, what? It's like, why can't I find a good relationship? You ain't got over the crap with your mom and your dad yet.
Right. Those
Why?
those are energy blocks that is not just the physical part of it, it's the energy behind it that people don't realize too that is blocking you.
I remember this one lady, she was single and she had a lot of childhood trauma that caused her to be really, really bitter.
Mm.
And I remember her saying, man, I just want to find somebody who's going to love me past my trauma. I said, that dude, ain't nobody trying to sign her to be your therapist.
Right.
Why would you wish that on anybody? Lord,
Right.
let me be a traumatic burden to the person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. Or
Mhm.
you could deal with your stuff.
Right.
Yes, what happened to you happened to you. That's not your fault. But dealing with it is your responsibility. You grown now. You got to deal with it however you need to deal with it, and it will impact your relationships.
Mhm.
It will impact how you see yourself. Or Dr. Linda James Myers would say it would probably impact how you view yourself, how you view the world, and how you view yourself in relationship to the world. And if any one of those three are messed up, it's usually all three. But if you any one of those three are messed up, it's going to impact your life suboptimally. So you got to deal with that. You got to deal with that trauma because that trauma is blocking how you see you. And we lie to ourselves. We think makeup and hair and clothes mean we like us.
Hmm. Mask.
A lot of times it be a mask. You ain't got to put 22s on a Bentley, but that Ford Taurus might need a little help. Might want to tint the windows. Might want to. It's not a bad car. It's just also not a Bentley.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But
Man.
once but I hate to use car analogies, but they work. But once you realize you're a Bentley, you stop trying to tint the windows or put rims and stuff on it. You know that you're perfect just the way that you are when you really see you. But until you really see you, you always, if I get the next degree, if I get the next job, if I, once I find that perfect mate, it's always once I do something else. No, how about once you truly love you, all those things just come to you anyways.
Yeah.
You got to heal. Not for nobody else's sake, for your own, because you deserve to see what it feels like to live a healed life. And for no other reason, not for your kids, not for your spouse, not for your parents. They're beautiful people, but this is not why you heal. You heal because you deserve to see what it feels like to live a healed life. You deserve it because you didn't give up. You didn't quit on you. So get to the other side of it and get the benefits of it. Shoot, ROI. I need my return on investment. I invested in me.
That was dope. Okay. We're gonna wrap it up because
Bet.
we'll wrap it up. We've been on here for like an hour and a half. All right.
Yeah, we definitely got to
So
get off this mug. I got some sleep. Got a paper due in the morning. Due tomorrow.
yeah, I'm gonna let you go. So thanks everybody for joining in. Catch the recap next Thursday on my YouTube channel. If any of this information was valuable for you and you are ready to have a starting point on digging into why you feel the way you feel, why the way that you are, please click the link in my bio and get my ebook, What's Really Wrong. It helps you dive into that childhood trauma a little bit more and gives you a starting point that will spark your own healing. As well as if you click that link, you can get the YouTube playlist, music playlist for tonight's live. I'll be updating that on a weekly basis. Mr. Jake, any last minute words? Wanting to follow you? Follow my boy on Instagram, TikTok.
Yep, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, all the same thing. My Life Now, MIE Life Now stands for motivating, inspiring, and empowering life now. Other than that, love you all, appreciate you all. Don't do drugs because they're bad for you, and I'll talk to you all next week.
Till next time, guys. Peace.